Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. So we have today the Year 4 Season 1 designer notes for the pre-season. Now this is up an hour before it should be, according to this. I do wonder if that means they're making room for a potential trailer today, but we'll see. Anyway, some big changes. Of course, this is all for the Australian season, which is coming pretty soon. First up, we've got Ash. She's going to be losing the ACOG from her R4C. So she's still going to have an ACOG, but on the other gun. And they say here that her R4C is picked 99% of the time. So this will definitely change her up a little bit. We'll have to see, and this is the interesting thing, they actually talk about how they want to see what the impact of removing an ACOG on an attacker is going to be. Which means, I guess, it could happen to more weapons on the attacking side as time goes on, so we'll have to see. Now, a little nerf here to Maverick. They're going to increase the swap time between his torch and weapons, so it'll be slower to switch from torch to a gun. They say here that he's very powerful because he's quite hard to counter, because of course he can make a hole, switch to his weapon and shoot you. And of course it's quiet. They do say that they are investigating making the sound louder, but they say that audio work cannot be completed right now, and therefore it's on the backlog for potential future changes. So I feel like that probably will come. However, like they say, it's on the backlog, which means either balance and patch for next season or the beginning of the season after. So you're talking a good couple of months at least before that may come into effect. Now, Dokkaebi is getting some nerfs as well. These are good ones. So you can now wait 18 seconds and the call from Dokkaebi will just go away. It'll just hang up. Or, of course, you can be in the range of a mute jammer. That is already the case. But the new change is if you walk into the mute jammer, then the call gets disconnected, which is brilliant. I think that's really good. I think that's a great change to her, and it'll be so handy to have a mute on your team, and you can just run over to a mute jammer, and the call will end, rather than you have to hang up. I think that's brilliant. And I think that will be great because it'll have still the same impact on roamers, but when it comes to someone holding down an objective site, it's going to be a lot less kind of a pain in the ass. And yeah, they're wanting to change the frustration with her, because of course she is annoying when you're getting calls in every round. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Now this one's awesome, Capitao. Now I think everyone can probably agree that he needs a big buff, and this actually seems like it's going to be pretty awesome. So they're going to increase the range of his effect, but they're going to reduce the damage. And you can actually see an example here of it being used. And it looks awesome. Like the area it covers, and it looks more like fire this time. You can see how it seems to fall onto the ground rather than it being like a cloud. So I'm very curious how this plays out, and it looks to have changed it quite dramatically. And of course that extra range means that it should be actually really useful to throw into like objective rooms. You can see it takes damage, but not when he's underneath the area there. So that, yeah, I can't wait to actually myth bust this, because it looks really quite cool. And there is a big chunk on what they're trying to do here, but I think the proof will come into actually testing it and seeing how well it works. Could you potentially stand on something to get out of the fire? How is it going to play out? Now let's move on to some other changes. So we've got Clash. They're going to remove the muzzle brake on machine pistol. This is just because it's now a full auto gun, so it doesn't need a muzzle brake, and muzzle brake is actually the worst choice for Clash's gun, so it's going away. Legion's also getting a nerf. Of course, he was too strong and overpicked last season, so they're going to reduce the goo mine damage tick from 8 to 4. I think that's because I think there's so much utility with Lesion that I don't think that'll be too big a hit on him. There'll be less times you get kills with it, but he's still going to be such a good one for just warning you that someone's coming. I think he's such a really handy operator to have on your team. So yeah, and they go over the fact that he's really strong, and the amount of damage from goo mines can do each tick. So we'll see how that plays out. Now this was another interesting change. It's the breaching charges. Now this is the thing, we're starting to see a lot of changes to stuff that's been out for a really long time. Like we've seen the changes to Cav, which changed things quite dramatically. When we're kind of like thinking, well, that's a bit odd to be going back and changing stuff so that we're so old. Now they're changing breaching charges. So they're really not afraid to hit some of the old stuff. Now what they're going to do is make it so that you can deploy faster, and also the damage on attacker's side is reduced from 150 to 50. Now, I guess this means you could potentially just stack up on a breaching charge, detonate it, everyone would lose half health, but you'd then be able to just sprint straight into the room like crazy. And on the defender side, it will be more damage. And the lethal damage area on the defender side is reduced. I think just kind of the blast radius on the defender side. So they wanted to make breaching charges safer and more comfortable for the attackers to use. I do think, like literally, I don't think there's any operators I go with a breaching charge. It's just not a gadget I use at all. So that's probably good, and we'll see if that does increase breaching charges pick rate. So we got current status of things here. This is interesting. I think it's mostly future things, so next like season and things. But there is definitely some of this which is this season, so I'm curious to see which ones will be coming this season. So first up, we've got deployable shield. They actually say they're going to rework it. So right now they say it's not good enough kind of protection. You're not always sure how safe you are behind it. So they're going to be reworking it in some way. But they don't give us any details or a time. So I'm thinking this is probably a future season change away, but some of the stuff down here is coming soon. They also talk about shield operators. So where the current playlist style for ballistic shields is heavily favors direct gunfights instead of teamwork and tactical positioning. So they're looking to address this by slowing down the speed of aiming down sights while having a shield equipped. Again, there's no info on whether that's coming now with the Australian season or later. Then we got the Lion rework. They already told us that this is coming at the 6th Invitational, and this is just basically a reminder of that. So they're going to show off at the 6 Invitationals. So yeah, we should at least see what is going to happen to Lion, and you're going to kind of get an overview of that. We've also got Glaz. They say that they want to bring him back to being a really good like corridor defender. You know, he can like hold down a corridor for the attacking team and stop any pushes along it. But of course, they don't want to just make his weapon really good so he can just rush into rooms and shoot everyone. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to kind of rework Glaz. Now, the big problem I think with Glaz is, what do you do? Like, do you just increase the damage on the weapon, make it really slow fire or something? Or do you go for the quicker fire, but he does less damage? And I really do wonder how they're going to fix him. Again, there's no time on this, so I don't know if this is a next season thing or we might see something this season. Now, Blitz, known for being a very frustrating operator to go up against. A lot of people hate him. I've seen him getting banned tons in the pick and ban this season. So we recognize the Blitz is one of the most frustrating operators to play against. Increasing the amount of time requiring him to aim down sights with his pistol is one way we hope to alleviate this. Additionally, we explored increasing the cooldown of his ability and tweaking how we detect flashes. But both of these changes will require extensive audio code work and therefore on the backlog to look into the future. So yeah, he's getting nerfed with the increased time to aim down sights, but they're looking to make some major changes to him in the future. So yeah, it's going to be interesting for Blitz, but that, you know, the main nerf there is going to be in the future. So that is the pre-season balancing kind of notes, I guess. And it sounds like they're doing a lot of big changes for the Australian season, so very, very interesting. Anyway guys, tell me what you think in the comments below and I'll catch you next time.